Up on Serendipity, pouring on Leafwood Hill, just west of the top of Hogback Mountain. That's where we live, love, and play, watching the clouds roll slow all day. Cold in the winter, frost on the ground, firewood crackling, that familiar sound. Mild in the spring and summer breeze, dogwoods bloom through the Georgia trees. Beautiful in the fall, oh, the colors run deep, golden hills and the valleys asleep. Every season's got a story to tell, life up here fits us well. Serendipity Point, where the good Lord shines, finding treasures you never set out to find. In the flora and fauna, in the morning light, finding joy in all things, making others' lives bright, making others' lives bright. Garden in the season, hands in the dirt, simple kind of living, blessings don't hurt. Tomatoes ripening and corn standing tall, we give thanks for every bit of it all. When the cold winds blow, we gather round, neighbors and kin, laughter in the sound, stories told by the fire's glow, the kind of warmth only country folks know. Serendipity Point, where the good Lord shines, finding treasures you never set out to find. In the flora and fauna, in the mountain air, finding joy in all things, and a whole lot to share. A whole lot to share. When we say living high, we mean elevation, closer to the sky, not a worldly temptation. A little piece of heaven, simple and true, a place where the soul can start anew. Serendipity Point on Leafwood Hill, life moves easy and time stands still. Living high where the heart stays strong, this mountain life is where we belong. So if you ever wonder where the ridgelines meet, you might find a place that feels complete, living life the way it was meant to be.
All right. How is everybody tonight? Good evening. Coming to you from Serendipity Point here in the beautiful Northeast Georgia mountains. Y'all excuse me a minute. Got a little bit of housekeeping to take care of. Uh-oh. Maybe. All right. All right. There we go. Phew. Boy, I tell you what. I am beat out. Uh-oh. Shows that my reception is a little poor right now. Must be some cloud cover. I don't know. Maybe Starlink is updating, but this is what I got. There we go. Back in the excellent realm of satellite technology. Good evening, friends and neighbors. Once again, welcome from Serendipity Point here in the beautiful Northeast mountains of Georgia. And I'll tell you what, the last 4 days has just about wore me out. I've been out there trying to get the garden planted before this rain that's supposedly coming this weekend. Boy, I hope we get it. It's been a long time. We are dry, but I'm trying to get that garden planted before the rain. And hoe in hand, digging, raking, planting, covering, water. And somewhere in the middle of all that, a few things crossed my mind. First one was, what in the world possessed me to start gardening? Well, then I remembered I've been doing it since I was a kid. I guess it's just something that I just always done. At one time, I had a front yard out in Douglas County, Georgia. One time I had a front yard and I got sick and tired of it. I planted the whole front yard as a garden. I quit cutting the grass and hoed up a bunch of places, run the tiller over it, and made corn, tomatoes, and everything else right there in the front yard. And here now I've got a back porch, and I can look out over the back porch, and it says my viewers are going to be experiencing some buffering. You know, it's 6 o'clock on Thursday. We're here every Thursday night at 6 o'clock. And maybe that's a high traffic area for the Starlink. They could be involved in some of that nasty stuff going on around the world. People fighting. They could be, who knows? But anyway, I've been gardening. I can remember my earliest days of gardening. I was 10 or 12. I had a beat up old rototiller, and I always somehow got that thing going and had a little plateau on a place we lived in there, and I think it was College Park maybe. And man, I had a garden back then. Back then it was amazing to me that I even grew anything, and today I'm amazed if I don't get a good crop. So anyway, and then the second thing occurred to me, man. Whew. Now I have gotten away from the no-till garden. This is my second year doing the no-till garden. And that requires a great deal of mulching. And over the winter, it'll get compacted down, and there'll be grass and stuff coming up through there. So you got to go out there and get all the grass out, and that's weeding the darn garden before you even plant it. And now it does get some compaction over the winter, but it's not as severe. I can dig it with a shovel real easy. And so then you have to go through and loosen the soil. And the only thing I A side story here. I tried to find a broad fork here in a local store. Nobody seemed to know what a broad fork is. Anyway, one lady at the Home Depot, I asked her about that. Now I went and bought some stuff, put it in the truck, came back, said, "Did you ever figure out about that broad fork?" She said, "My granddaddy lived to be 103 years old, and I ain't never heard of no broad fork." And I showed her the picture of it. She goes, "Oh, no, we ain't got none of them." I think she was trying to call me one of them male Karens. I think she called me Chad because she thought I didn't know what in the hell I was talking about. Anyway, I still ain't found one, and you can send off for one. But anyway, back to the original story. Now I understand why they call that gardening exercise, because I had to rake back all the mulch, do all the weeding, get all the weeding out, and then put the mulch back in, and some wood chips and all this stuff I had going on. And then you have to go to put your plants in, and instead of being all tilled up and soft soil, well, you got to dig a, big size. Let me see if I can get this in the camera. Big size hole. That big, and loosen the soil up, and I always stir in a little bit of fresh topsoil. I forget the kind I use. I'll have to get that for you if you want. If you want to know the kind of topsoil I use, send me a chat, and I'll send something back to you. If I have to stop right here and say I'll be right back, and I'll be right back, and I'll run out there and get the name of it. Before I bought it at Home Depot, a couple bucks a bag, and I bought half a pallet. But anyway, you dig into the earth and stir in three or four big trowels worth of topsoil into it, and maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 ounces of, I use 10. I just sprinkle it right there, and then I stir it all in. And then I put my start down in there. And boy, I had the darn starts. Whoo! I think I got 60 plants out there or something like that. Let's see. There's 8 rows. 8 rows of 6. That's 48 tomatoes I got out there. And hell, I didn't plant that much corn. Maybe 5 or 6 or 8 stalks of corn. And I did the old 3 sisters planting, where you put in a corn stalk, a corn, and a bean, and then some kind of squash or pumpkin. And I did several sets of those. And then later find out you normally put 3 or 4 pieces of corn or stalks of corn. You plant 3 or 4 corn plants in there along with the beans and the, anyway, back to the exercise part. Boy, raking and hoeing and digging and, mixing it up. And, that's a lot of back bending to try all that stuff in, and doing all that by hand. I should have used the shovel instead of bending over with my back, but I felt like I got a better feel for it. And you certainly can't use a shovel when you're putting in your sets. That's certainly not going to happen. So anyway, man, I tell you what, I've been I've been sleeping like a baby the past 3 nights. The kind of sleep you get when you've earned it. And then the third realization, sit there standing there looking at all the trays and the rows and the starts. And I said, who exactly needs 50 tomato plants in a household of 2? And then it hit me. Spring has a way of making you a little too enthusiastic. If you have that kind of situation going on in your head, let me know about it. Send me a chat. Looks like I'm having error signals on the stream. I tell you what, sorry about the swirly gig there, boys and girls. I can't do nothing about that. This is a dadgum sight better than that Windstream or Kinetic or any of them other ones. It's Starlink, so it's the best I got for where I'm at here on Serendipity Point. You know, if I had a choice of not living here on Serendipity Point and having a live stream, you guys wouldn't get to see me trying to make an effort at a live stream. I'm sorry. I like where I'm at just too dadgum much. I'm just this side of paradise. If I pierce the veil today, I know that paradise is going to look a lot like Serendipity Point here in the Northeast Georgia mountains. I'm sorry, I digress. But anyway, and that's the beauty of it too, because the garden doesn't just grow food. It teaches you something every single time you step into it. And I'll let you give me some ideas of what it does for you. I know it teaches me patience, courage, tenacity, stick-to-itness, but hey, listen, before we go any further, let's remember why we gather. We're a community of like-minded people with common interest in hunting, fishing, protecting our environment, our community, our culture, our families, and we come here to exchange ideas, resources, and information, and have a good time while we do it. So go ahead, pile in, send me a chat, and ask questions or tell me a funny story. Tell me what's going on in your part of the world here in the Northeast Georgia mountains. I would call it Rabun County because that's where I live at, Rabun County. And this is the Rabun County Rag. If this is your first time tuning in, the old rag part is dual meaning, but I'm only going to cover the one that relates back to the old ham radio operators. Back in the day before television, back almost before electricity, old boys sat up in their attics with a crystal set, a piece of crystal and some wound wire and some headphones on like this, and they found out they could talk 100 miles, several hundred miles, halfway across the world using nothing but that rudimentary electronics. And they would give each other reports about their part of the country, whether it was a few 100 miles away, 100 miles away, or halfway around the world. Rumors of war, rumors of drought, rumors of great discoveries, all that stuff went out over the wireless sets back in the day. Y'all excuse me too, boy. This time last week, I got done out there. I was doing something. What was it? It was, I got to feeling bad. I went to the doctor and he said, man, you got fluid in both your ears. And I'd gotten a little dizzy that morning. And I don't know if I talked about it last week or not, but he gave me a prescription for some antibiotics. And then all of a sudden, man, it's like he said something. It's like a mental thing. I got where I coughing all the time, slimy green stuff down in the sinuses. Made it real difficult having it. Robbed me of a whole lot of ambition. I wanted to get that garden in last week, and by golly, I just didn't have that much enthusiasm about it. But come Monday, boy, I set my mind to it, and I've been at it and had to do a lot of resting. I guess I'm getting up there in age, and hell, you think I can get this part planted in a day, and it takes 3 days to get that part done. Well, this no-till garden, like I've described to you once before, did have a difference. It made a difference, a lot more work on the front end, but I think it's better for the environment. I think it's better for the earth, but we'll see. I guess, I didn't have to get out there and spend, I used to get out there with the darned old Roundup, and I'd spray all the things in the garden, and then I'd wait a week, and then I'd till it up, And I got to thinking about all that biological magnification, that stuff staying in the soil, and it got to bother me, and you know, I'm always looking at how other people do gardening. I'm a big YouTube guy. I'm always out there looking at YouTube stuff, and every time garden season comes around, I'll get on the old YouTube and I'll watch how other people are out there doing their gardening and try to gain ideas. And you know, I've known about no-till for a long time, and I've just never taken advantage of it. And so I decided to give it a try. But anyway, and tonight we're going to talk about part of gardening is and fishing and hunting, what the land is teaching us right now. All right, hunting, fishing, and trapping. Timing matters. Turkey season's in full swing now, and there's one word that connects turkey hunting and gardening. It's this: timing. Early reports across North Georgia, gobbling has begun solid at daylight. Birds are still henned up early, but mid-morning is starting to open up, and that's the shift we wait for. And as a reminder of the habitat, I'm sure you turkey hunters who cruise by and check this out, you'll have better ideas. Perhaps you'll share that with us. But hardwood ridges are for roosting. Openings for strutting, you know, a grassy spot, a field, maybe a cemetery, as long as there's water nearby. Fresh green growth and insects seems to be the diet for these guys this time of year. And the tactics right now: be in place before daylight. Make your calls soft. Don't overdo it. Sit longer than you think you should. I went out this morning getting ready to go to work in the garden. No, I just went out. I was editing a video this morning, and you know, I needed to go, had a nature call, and I normally just go out here in the backyard and take care of nature that way. And I heard them running through the woods out there, and I looked out, and there was 2 or 3 mamas and 2 or 3 babies out there, and they was having a time. I was wondering about they getting in my darn corn. I was fixing to get irate, but they didn't. Now that don't mean they won't. Now that they get the smell of it, hopefully there's ample shoots in their natural food that they like to eat. But anyway, when you're turkey hunting, sit longer than you think you should. Let the woods do the work. And just like the garden, you can't rush it. You can't rush it and expect good results. General trapping season is closed. Predator control continues. Is a deer a predator if it's eating your garden? Somebody send me a chat and let me know their thoughts on that. And the fishing is ramping up strong. Boy, I see these guys on YouTube. I don't watch much TV, but my algorithm, you watch one thing, you know, like an old boy tying a fly or something, all of a sudden your algorithm is loaded down with guys tying flies. Or you watch a guy reeling a bass, and all of a sudden your algorithm is tied into bass fishing anyway. So everything is shifting, though. It's not stopping. It's just shifting. The bass are moving up into the shallows, getting to do their ritual. The brim, I tell you what, they're getting crazy. They'll hit about any. I believe you could throw a dang bear hook on top of a brim bed, and that guard, he'll get it. He don't like nobody getting around his daggum nest. All right, so what's going on, everybody? Come on in. The water's fine. I've had a good time. Boy, that garden, I tell you what. Whew. If my hopes and expectations rise to the number of tomato plants I got out there, we're going to be canning some tomatoes this year, putting them in the freezer. I think we still got some in the freezer. Take them out. I need to do that. Take some out, make some spaghetti sauce or or something with them. Some tomato. How about some tomato soup? Anyway, rolling along. I got music playing, don't I? Let's try something else. Let's try that one. About just a little. I've been playing around with some of these AI generated song making stuff. I've got, an idea or something, and, and I'll start typing stuff into it, just short sentences, one after the other, related to something that's on my mind. And then I'll use AI and I'll say, kind of configure this stuff so it rhymes and has reason with it, and it'll do that. And then I'll get the guitar and the mando and pick out a couple things and, just some basic riffs or whatever I want. I think I'd like to hear, and I'll plug it into AI and it'll do a pretty good job. And for a guy who lacks talent, he can at least generate something and make him feel like he's somewhat creative. But that's part of the fun. I enjoy doing it. And plus, and the side benefit of that is I think I'm paying less money for the AI than I would be if I were paying for one of these services that have music and all this pre-made, where you can go in and put it in your YouTube channels, and I don't have to worry about any kind of conflict. I don't have to worry about somebody coming back and saying, hey, that's ours. We need a piece of the action. Not that I got a piece of any action, but the potential is there. And I said, hey, you know what? Here I am picking guitar and mando and having all kinds of wonderful thoughts in my mind. I ought to try and just put it together myself. And so as we go through these live streams, you'll hear some background music and stuff, and it's stuff that I kind of delved into and created with the help of some AI stuff. But anyway, that's just something that's going on. All right, where were we? Man, golly. 22 conditions over calendars. This is a fishing technique. Fishing right now follows the same lesson. Don't look at the dates. Don't look at the dates. Look at the conditions. Hey, I missed a phone call. I didn't even hear it. All right. Steve Pritchett. Must have been a junk call. Tell you what. Anywho, we're moving along with show conditions over calendar. It's the same with planting a garden. They say, well, you got to get it in when the, right after Easter, and or you got to wait for this moon. You got to wait for that moon. Well, I think the conditions right now are good for gardening, and for fishing. The days, we had a strong cold front that lasted a few days, and now that's easing off, and the weather's warming up and the water will follow. I don't know if the lakes have turned yet, but send me a chat and let me know if they're starting to turn and what the fishing conditions are like in your area. Now, the trout's still strong. Of course, they stock a lot of the streams around here. If you're a meat fisherman, there's your opportunity. Me, I kind of prefer the fall fishing, some winter fishing, and early spring. And I've probably missed my golden, in my mind, my golden opportunity for fishing for spring, because the crowds are starting to roll in. We've had spring breaks and things like that, people and their stocking. You can fish some of the more isolated space places where people just don't want to get into. Hell, I'm getting where I don't want to get into them anymore. Age, creaky bones, and all that. But you could catch some trophy trout if you know where to go, where you get a place that's not heavily fished. You can get in there and you can get some fine fish. I've done it plenty of times in the past. And you can use any tactic you want. If you're a fly fishing aficionado or whatever they call it, you go for it. That's what you want to do. I've done plenty of fly fishing. I've caught bass, trout, brim, pike on fly rod. So pickerel, pike, you do anything you want to. If you're a fisherman, you fish the way you want to fish. And then I spin fish. I use a little closed face Zebco T11, little spin fishing outfit. I've worn more T11s out than I know what to do with. Load them down with 4-weight line and get out there and make 100 casts a day and pretty much catch my limit. And I've used anything by putting a nymph on them with a strike indicator and tossing it. And nymph, dry fly. I've used a dry fly with a spin cast, because the thing is, you just got to present the bait. And fly fishing is a wonderful way to present the bait, unless you're overcrowded with overhang and back cast obstacles. Get after it. But with that, I call it a trout switch. It's about a 5-foot. It's about the action of a fly rod tip, and I built those things myself, and I fish those with that Zebco T11, and I have a ball, and I have caught some pretty big fish. I think I've caught a 6-pound bass on that outfit before. Just because I saw them feeding on shad, and I had a little fake shad about that big, and I got right in the middle of it, and I had that thing act like it was crippled, and bam! I didn't think I was going to land it. It had that little old pole bent over, and the wind was blowing. It was in February too, and that wind was blowing across that line. You can hear it whistle. And I was like, oh Lord, and that old drag was going zzz, zzz, zzz. I said, it's going to break. But I had to wait out and get it, and I had my loafers on. A pair of old leather loafers I used to drive in. Them things are still in there in the shop. I wear them around the house. I got them hard soles on them. My wife don't like it on our nice hardwood floors. But yeah, man, fishing. That's fun. And the bass are moving shallow in these warm afternoon. And of course, we talked a little bit about the panfish. They're starting to stage on their beds, and you can smell that musty odor if you're walking around a lake or a wide part in the river. You can smell them. You know what's going on. Here's some keys to success. Now, I'm by no means an expert fisherman. I've been doing it since I was 4 years old. I've taught plenty of kids to fish, and I've had plenty of fishing partners and plenty of fishing trips, and all those things that go along with those camping and fishing trips, hanging out in the evenings by the fire, telling stories, telling lies. But anyway, keys to success: go for the warmer parts of the day. And that's normally, it's around here, it's 10 o'clock or so, it starts warming up pretty good. And hit those transition zones too, from the shallows up to, from the deep up to the shallows, especially if there's some cover nearby, like a tree or something in there, rock. And make sure you adjust based on the temperature swings. Now, that's the same as gardening. You don't plant because it's April. You plant because the conditions are right. And we don't ever want to forget about the safety aspect. And I'm a safety guy, and I'm always worried about it. While working the garden reminded me of something else. Stay hydrated. I got these bottles of water, and I fill them. I got well water, and I fill these bottles up, and I'll drink them. And I bet I had at least two of those today, out there working in the garden, plus a couple swallows from the hose direct. Yeah, I'm old school that way. But water, stay hydrated. Now, I've gotten where I really cut down on the coffee too. I made a cup today, one of them 12 or 16 ounce things, old sippy cup thing I call them for adults. And I bet I didn't drink half of it. And it's been that story all week this week as far as the coffee goes. And I don't know if it might have added to some of the headache I was having, along with that cold or flu or whatever I was fighting on top of the pollen. But working in the garden, it reminded me, and make sure you hydrate. And when you're tired, that's when mistakes happen. Golly, dig a hole in the wrong place. You're trying to keep your garden uniform, in a grid. You get tired and you're digging holes, and you look at that line and it looks like a snake going up through there, and you dug another set right next to it, and all of a sudden you got 3 or 4 rows doing that because you're tired, man. It's hot. Well, it's not hot. It's 80, 75. But heck, when you're a fat boy like me up in your 60s, you're out there digging all day, and you're going, why am I doing this? I could be inside where it's cool. I could be watching TV. I could be, and I get under the deck. I got a, deck out the back of the house there. And I got me some bales of straw and all kinds of, lumber I got stacked under there to keep it out of the weather. And I got a chair, old iron chair, and a cement block that I'm setting my drink on. And I can get under there and get to sweating, and I'll get under there and I'll go, I really don't want to do no more of this. But, if you want the success, you got to put in the effort. Same with fishing. So when you're tired, stop for a minute, reassess what's going on. That way you can avoid some mistakes. Quick reminders, you turkey hunters, if you're out there, when you're handling those firearms, man, I never had one in the chamber when I was walking. If something came up on me, it just came up on me. And if I stopped and it stopped, we looked at each other and I could put a round in safely, I'd do it. And if they ran off, I'd just take that round back out of the chamber and put it back in the magazine. Don't rush. Don't get in a big hurry. I had an old cousin up in West Virginia. He's gone now. I guess cigarette, pot smoking, all those things, and predisposition. He got the old cancer and it killed him pretty quick. But anyway, the story is that, man, he would go deer hunting. He would be wearing his mechanic clothes or whatever clothes he was working, and have a darn Camel cigarette dangling from his lips. And he had more luck deer hunting about anybody I knew, because he didn't rush. He did it when the time was right, the conditions warranted it, and he knew what he was after, and he had experience on it. So stay with that. And when you're on the water, don't rush. Just because somebody says the fish is biting at some point, don't get in no big hurry. Just get yourself ready, plan your trip, make sure everybody's on board, got all your lines in, everybody's seated, and make your way over to that point. If they're biting there, they're still biting there. If they're not, you find another place. And that cold water, now these mountain lakes and these streams up here, they're still cold. Don't let them fool you. Cold water's still dangerous. It will take the energy out of you. If you fall in and you're too far from the boat, you could be overcome in a pretty quick moment. So be careful with those cold. And Also, watch your footing when you're in the garden, like me. Boy, old man bending over, I'd stand up and go, whew, man, feel a little dizzy, blood rushing. I don't know if it's blood sugar, blood pressure, or ain't no telling what it is. If you get that way, take a break. Because remember, fatigue changes judgment. Respect the work, whether it's hunting, fishing, or planting. Respect the work. Turn that down. Let me see what I got. All right. Weather. Whether it's going to rain or not. That's it's so George Carlin. Why is it? It's called the weather because it don't know whether it's going to rain or not. Waiting on the rain. Now about that rain I've been racing. We've been dry, man. There's fires down in South Georgia. They're calling for help and aid and resources. And it's hot. It's dry here. Humidity's way low. I took the old plants out of the pantry and put them outside under the deck there to harden them off before I planted them. And boy, I had to water them things every day. The humidity's so slow, it sucked the darn water right out of them little old plants. But there's a shift. There's a shift coming. Rain chances seem to be increasing, and the warm temps are holding. Soil moisture is critical. Now, I will say this. Since I didn't till that garden, and I had mulch on it most of the winter and early into the spring, I've had mulch on it since 1st of March, heavier March. I took a bale and made it thicker and put some wood chips on it, some composted wood chips. And when I stuck my hand in there, it was still moist. So that mulching business means something. But soil moisture is becoming critical in the bigger crops. All over North Carolina, Georgia, it's a real dry spell. It is a drought, and we would love to have some rain. And they're calling for it Friday. Let me look at that. I think it's Friday. 10-day Clayton. Well, now it's only moved to Saturday. Doggone it. Saturday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week. So if we get a good rain Saturday, that'll make me happy. That'll get enough moisture in the ground with the mulch I've got out there. That'll hold these new sets. Hopefully it'll hold them off strong until they get back around to some good rain and in the following week. And that should be good for the garden. But there's nothing like planting ahead of a good rain. I still got some stuff to do. I've got one bed done. I've got I've got cilantro, basil, thyme, some heirloom tomatoes that a neighbor gave us. I've got to still put out. So I'm still going to hit that 60 tomato mark. I've got cucumbers, watermelon, pumpkin. I've got one big patch that I put all those melons and squashes in. And I'd love to get those in before this rain comes. And then I've got two wildflower beds up at the top of the driveway. I'm going to put zinnia in one, and I always buy wildflower. And this year I did something a little different. I got some perennial wildflowers, and I've got another little bed that I've been planting zinnia in. It's probably a a 4x8 bed or something like that, I think I'm going to put those perennial wildflowers in that and see if they'll catch over the next couple years. Just plant perennials. And what I do is I let them all go to seed head. They're dead and they're standing there all winter, and hopefully they're dropping their seeds into their own beds. And then I go through there in the early spring and I weed whack that crap and get all and leave it in there, then till it, and then rake all the debris out. Hopefully I'm setting seeds. I'll have to go up there and look, but I overseed zinnia. We collect the zinnia seeds. Look, guys, I look at a pack of zinnia seeds and they might give you a tablespoon in the darn thing and they want $3 for it. I hadn't bought zinnia seeds in 8 years. They just grow, and I'll say to my wife, I say, pick all you want, but leave me a section or leave me some heads so that when they go to seed in the fall, then I can gather the seed. And she'll even help me gather the seed heads once they dry up. Go to seed, we'll pick them and put them in a Kroger bag, a paper bag, and let them sit in the basement over the winter. And then in the springtime, we'll break off the seeds off those seed heads, and you'll get a big old pail of them. And if you had to buy them at the Home Depot zinnia packets, you'd have $500 or $600 worth of zinnia seeds in your bucket, and it only took you just a little while to gather them up. But so if this rain, I'd like to get those flower beds planted, but that only leaves tomorrow. And I've got to get these vegetables in. Vegetables take priority. I've got another little flower bed out here by a bird bath. And I've got the seed, but I just got to you got to give everything priority. The vegetables have to have priority in my mind. Give the vegetables priority. The wildflowers and all that stuff in the zinnia, they'll grow pretty quick. But anyway, that's what I got going on. Send me a chat and let me know what you got going on. As a side note here, and I don't know, I thought about live streaming on a dual platform, maybe running this through Facebook, the local Facebook or something, one of the chat things that I'm a member of. I don't even know if they allow it, but that would be kind of cool. I'm trying to gather just followers in the community. Now, anybody's welcome. If you're rural living, you can be rural living anywhere, any place. It doesn't matter. Even if you're a city dweller, you want to hop in here and you're tired of the rat race, and you want to hear how people live on the other side that aren't caught up in the rat race. Reminds me, it's been 30 years now. Yeah. Nah, maybe 28 years. It's still 30 years. My son was going to kindergarten or preschool. I don't remember which one it was. But, they had those hamsters. Or gerbils or whatever in the hell they were. They looked like a rat to me. But he brought them home, and we had all the conversations and how they ate and how they lived and all this stuff. And they had one of them wheels in there so the thing could get its exercise. That wheel was squeaky. Yeah, I lived in a place called Fairplay, which is in South Douglas County. And I swear that thing ran to Villa Rica and back every night on that wheel. I'm just in there running all night. Anyway, I don't know where that one came from, but there it is. Yeah, the old rat race. That's where it came from. If you want to get out of the rat, now I know what rat race is. I was talking about all these tomatoes I got going, and I guess the title of this section is, this section of the program, this segment of the program is don't plant your enthusiasm. Let's talk about it, because I learned something this week. Don't plant your enthusiasm. Plant what you can actually manage. You know, I told you about all them tomato plants, and as a younger man in my 30s, 40s, and maybe 50s, I could put out them tomatoes in probably a day, probably less than a day. I'd be out there working like a one-armed paper hanger and get the job done. But now that I'm 64 and a little fatter, been out of shape from driving too much and doing too little over the years, it's tough. But I'm glad I did it, because they say that gardening is good exercise, and I believe it. Ooh-wee. I can't wait to get upstairs and get me a shower. Now, I did have some coleslaw with tuna fish in it for dinner before I came down. But I'm ready for a bath. I'm ready for a shower. And then I might have me a little dessert, which is probably going to be, what do you call that stuff? Some kind of yogurt with the probiotics in it. What do they call that stuff? Not the kiddie stuff. It's somewhere between sour cream and clabbered milk. What do they call that stuff? It's a yogurt. But anyway, I'll probably have some dessert. Maybe throw something sweet in it to dress it up. But I'm ready. Anyway, so what to be doing right now? I'm past this stuff. I've already got most of this done, but I'm enthusiastic. Soil prep and amendments. I've done soil prepping and amendment for 4 days now, and I still got the other patches ain't going to be near as hard. They ain't near as big. I can get them done probably in 2 days. But the warm crops, cool crops are still going, and the warm crops ready soon. Watch the frost. I think we're out of the frost zone. Here we are coming into May. I don't think we're going to have any more frost, and if they do, the heck with it. Here's the practical truth. Then what you overplanted. Well, I started everything. Now, I am going to start some wildflowers, and I don't thin them. I just let them choke each other out. I try and sparsely plant them. I'd rather them be sparse than cluttered. In parts of my garden, you know, as the sun flows, and we're in the mountains here, it's doesn't get a lot of sunlight, but I seem to be doing all right with that. But I am going to plant some marigolds and zinnia and something somebody gave my wife. I don't know what it is called, camel or something like that. And I got some sunflowers. Man, I've been struggling with the sunflowers. You know, one year they did pretty good, but every other year, I guess I want them so bad that I'm doing too much for them. But anyway, I still got some stuff to plant, but I'm not going to get in a rush about that. If I can get those in next week after this little rain we got coming in before the next, I'll be good. And watering. Water matters. Now, I'm on a well, and I don't believe in wasting water. I believe in drinking it. But mulching in this no-till, I think that's what a low-maintenance garden is all about. Now, my back telling me it ain't so low maintenance right now, but once it's in the ground, I started my tomatoes probably about the 15th of March, and they were beyond ready to transplant. And I've had pretty good success with starting my seeds. I got some fine looking cucumbers and squashes. I need to get them in the ground. And yes, yeah, you probably don't need 40, 50, or 60 tomato plants, but you might grow them anyway. I don't know. Well, here we are in the community, and you can feel it across Rabun County. The flea markets are going strong. The outdoor events are picking up. and the trails and the national forest are getting busy. Life is moving along. If you've got something you would like to present, send me a chat and I'll mention it here. As small program that it is right now, but anyway, you could say, hey, check out this show. We're going to be talking about the Clayton whatever this week. Spring don't ask, it just moves. So stay with it, boys and girls. All right, you planted too much when you start giving tomato away to those who don't ask. And that's the funny thing about tomatoes. When yours are ripe, so's everybody else's, including the farmers. And you can probably buy them real cheap at the grocery store. And everybody's got tomatoes. So why do we grow so many darn tomatoes? I don't like buying them. And I'll tell you what, this is the God's honest truth. I grow them little cherry tomatoes and them little grape tomatoes. I probably have 4, 5, 6 vines of each. And when those things come out of the garden, brother, they are sweet. They are tasty. They're delicious compared to the ones you buy in the grocery store that's been picked too early, so they get them to market when they're red and pick them when they're green. They don't get all the good flavors in them. Hey, man, ain't nothing better than a homegrown vegetable. They got it. And now my bell peppers don't get to be 2 handfuls. They might be as big as your hand. Man, but the flavor is so intense, especially if you're not drowning them in fertilizer. You're letting nature accumulate those flavors, those natural things that make a bell pepper what it is. And we look at a bell pepper when we used to get them. We would look at them and remember them. They looked big maybe as a kid, but they was only as big as your hand, and they were delicious. And so these farmers get the idea, or these producers or these marketers, hey, let's make them huge. Well, there's no flavor to them. All you're eating is what you thought you were getting. But anyway, moving along. Be giving them tomatoes away. People don't even want none. No, thank you, man. I just got a bushel from my friend. And Granddaddy said gardening builds character. I think he meant patience and sore muscles. Yeah, there's a little bit of difference there. All right. You're winding her down here. It's 6:53 in the evening on the 23rd day of April. Hey, listen, next Thursday will be the last day of April. How about that? The last day of April and 2026. Boy, we march into 2027. I tell you what, shout outs to the workers. I want those gardeners out there with the sore backs, them old dudes. What about us old dudes out there working in the garden in the heat of the day? My wife was talking about a man she called Mr. Bill. He is 93 years old. And she said, now, her mother rented a place from him. It used to be a farm, but he still had a big garden patch there when he got up in his 60s, but 70s, 80s. But she said that he came every day from his place, probably 20 miles away, and continued to work at garden spot at the house where her mother was renting every single day. He would drive out there and work that garden. And in the evenings before he went home, he'd pick wildflowers for his wife. You know what? When I think about that, that's exactly who I am. I'm not 80 yet. Maybe I'll make it that far, and hopefully I'll still be able to garden. But my wife has an ample amount of flowers, wildflowers, all kinds of flowers. She could keep a full bouquet of flowers. They're not roses, or there's some tulips, yeah. And there's some violets and things like that. But there's all kinds of wildflowers. Hell, I ain't even cut my grass yet. My wife says, well, you need to cut that grass. I said, I'm not cutting that wildflower field, because that's what my front yard looks like, with all the purples and yellows and the vetch. You call it, man. The clover. I ain't cutting that. You want it cut, you go out there and cut it. I ain't cutting it, because to me it's beautiful. People look like it's an overgrown lawn. I look at it as a flower bed. But anyway, flowers everywhere. They're all around you. Beauty's everywhere you want to look. All you got to do is get out there and look. Also, hunters, I want to shout out to them guys putting in the time, getting them turkey birds. And folks working with their hands. A lot of guys are out there now getting their lawn mowing business up, and house repairs and all that stuff. They're getting into the swing of things. It's because work like that, it still means something. And I appreciate them guys getting out there. Hey, before we close this thing out in the next couple minutes, what'd you overplant this year? What's already teaching you a lesson? Because if you're working the land, I guarantee you're learning something. All right, let's bring it back around. The garden taught me something this week. You can't rush growth. You can't fake timing and enthusiasm without discipline. It gets you 60 tomato plants. And still, there's something good in that too, because it means you're trying. And that's what this is all about. Remember, we're a community of like-minded people with common interest in hunting, fishing, protecting our community, our culture, families, and environment. We come here to exchange ideas, resources, and information. Spring is here, work has begun, and the lessons are already showing up. I want to thank you for spending your evening with the Rabun County Rag. And this is Bubba. I'm a little tired. I'm a little sore. But that's right where he's supposed to be. Each and every one of you, I want you to have a marvelous and grateful week. And I'll see you next Thursday. Have a grateful week. Have a grateful day. We'll see you next time.
Mist rising soft off the river and the creek. Boots on the path where the old roots went, through a cathedral of pine and thyme. The mountain's breath is cool and slow, whispers through the hemlock rows, and I walk alone, but I ain't alone, with the earth humming low like a welcome home. Trillium blooms in a quiet grace, white as the dawn in a shaded place, and trout lilies nod in the morning air like they've been waiting just to be there. Golden light starts breaking through, painting the ridge in a softer hue, and every step feels sacred still on a southern Appalachian hill. Oh, this southern Appalachian trillium morning, where the river runs and the light comes pouring, bird song rising like a faithful prayer through the dark. soul finds rest without a word, in the quiet truth of what's been.